This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101. And I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I want to share a little story with you about how a Facebook ad works and then the consequences of following up on a Facebook ad. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that I'm going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada this year on July 15th and 16th at the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'm going to be giving 2 classes there. I'm going to be also kicking off the campfire sessions, and I'm going to be out on the main expo floor in my association's booth. Again, the National Street Food Vendors Association, where you guys can come up, find out all about the association. You can ask me questions and just hang out and have a generally good time with us there at the Food Truck Owners Expo in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you'd like to attend, go to FTOexpo.com, place your order for those tickets, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. So today I am perusing Facebook. It's what I do every single morning. As soon as I get up, I get on Facebook and deal with the new members that want into our group. I deal with any posts that are pending overnight. And then, of course, I deal with the moderation alerts. And then after I do all of that stuff to make sure the group is all set, I get on Facebook in general just to see what's going on. Usually do that while I'm eating my breakfast. So this morning, I walk over to the food truck, cook my breakfast, and I'm sitting down at my desk getting ready to record the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast like I do every Sunday. And then I come across an ad. I usually just skip over ads. I really don't care about ads on Facebook, probably like you. But this ad started with Emerald Coast, and I live on the Emerald Coast, so it's like, hey, this is a local ad. Let's see what they're all about. And it's about processing. And it did what I hate. It included 2 problems in the ad. One being free processing, which we know it is not free processing. Someone is paying that bill for the processing fees. Whether it's you or your guest, someone's paying for it. So I hate when they say free processing. Then they got into the, we'll surcharge your guest. Gosh, I hate those. Because what that means is they're going to charge your guest more money to process the fee rather than had you just included it in your menu price in the first place. So those 2 things I hate. So I just clicked off the ad. It's like, you're an idiot, and I moved on. Well, they had their ad set to, when someone clicks on it, to send out a message. So I get this automated bot message, hey, would you like more information? And then 2 or 3 other choices. It's like, no, I do not. I clicked off your ad for a reason, because I could have easily just hit learn more and then been taken into the messaging system. Not what I did. So now they have taken a private situation, because that's what messaging is. It is person to person, friend to friend, private, and turned it into a business transaction. I hate that. If you want to transact business with me, call my business number, send me an email. That's pretty simple. Because when I get on messaging, especially through Facebook, I expect it to be one of my friends. I expect it to be somebody from my Facebook group. I expect it to be someone that I have some personal knowledge of. I do not expect it to be a business. So that, not a good way to start the morning for me. I don't like processing fees being pushed off on the consumer. That's pointless. You guys know that. I've got many podcasts about it. And I certainly don't like surcharges. And I don't like cash discount schemes. All the things that trick new owners into thinking, oh, I'm going to save all this money. No, you're going to chase away a lot more guests than you're going to gain with that nonsense. But this company couldn't just leave well enough alone. They had to send me a message. Well, since you sent me a message, I'm going to tell you everything is wrong with your ad. First thing I told them was don't send messages. Just because someone clicks on an ad to read it doesn't mean they have an interest in your business. Because Facebook has that nonsense see more crap. So we can't see the details until we click that on. That does not mean I care about your business. The fact that I clicked off your business means that there was something within that ad content I did not like. But you had to follow up and say, hey, what is your interest? So I'm going to tell you why I didn't like the ad. So I told them, I don't like that you sent me a message. That was not an invitation to send me a private message. Number 2, I don't believe there's anything free about your processing. You are charging somebody for it. And the fact that you say you're going to do the surcharge to the guest means the guest is the one paying it. So it's not free. You're being disingenuous as a business. And that's how I left it. So this person had to respond. It's legal in all 50 states. Legal is not the same as moral and not the same as ethical. Did a podcast on that a couple of weeks ago. Moral is what you expect people to do. Ethical is what the industry expects you to do. And then legal is what the government tells you to do. Those are the 3 differences. So in this case, it might be legal to charge that nonsense fee, which I think the ruling on that is very dubious at best. But we'll have to go with it because it is the law of the land. But that doesn't make it ethical. Consumers do not like being charged fees. So he went on to cherry pick one survey that says people don't mind fees. So I had to give him all the surveys that were not done by processing companies, that were done by independent companies that just want to know what's going on out there in the retail world, like J.D. Powers, for instance. They don't care one way or another whether people get charged fees or the fees included or the fees are quote-unquote free. They don't care. They just want to know what consumers think about it. That's kind of important information to know because it's not being funded by a credit card processing company. If you want a result on a survey, how you ask the questions can give you the result. I see it all the time. Some of their questions are written to elicit a certain response. And I tell them, because they always ask you at the end, what did you think about this survey? Well, this question, and this question were written to elicit a certain response. So it's not really truly a survey. It's just dictating what we want you to think, and we're going to write the question so that you can only answer it the way we want you to think. That's not a survey. So this person in his business here on the Emerald Coast has to send that information out and say, hey, it's legal. Well, good for you. I'm glad it's legal. So how do you answer the J.D. Power survey that indicates that people will not go to a business once they find out that they're being charged? How do you handle that? How do you respond to that? And I gave him other surveys as well. There's a survey that says 73% of card holders say that they would use their credit cards less frequently if they had to pay a merchant surcharge every time. And what's interesting is it's 80% of people making less than $75,000. Guess who eats at a food truck most frequently? People that make less than $75,000. So you're automatically going to be chasing away 80% of people coming to your business. They'll eat once and realize that, well, this idiot charged me a fee. I ain't coming back. Do you have deep enough pockets to chase away 80% of the people? Because you will eventually run out of people in your town. And then what are you going to do? People don't like fees. And I've talked about this and talked about it till I'm blue in the face. And yet there's always these new companies popping up. They think they're onto something. Let me make it free. Well, then make it free. Quit lying about it. And of course I had to ask, what do you do about debit cards? Debit cards are not credit cards, but they are run through the credit card processing system. So you have a debit card, your paycheck is direct deposited, you want to go out and eat, and you got to pay with that debit card, and they're going to charge you a fee as if it's a credit card. Debit cards are processed at a lower rate because it's considered a cash transaction. Now there's some companies that will make that adjustment, and it won't charge you that fee. But there are many, many others that will force that debit card to be ran as a credit card, so they can get the maximum fee. So they are effectively overcharging you because a debit card should always have the option for a PIN transaction. The PIN transaction makes it a cash transaction. But yet these credit card processors don't want to let you know that. Pay attention the next time that you are working your cash drawer. How many of the cards you get are actually truly credit and how many of them are debit? A lot of people use Chime. Chime's debit card, because Chime is an internet bank, so Chime's debit card is white. If you get their Chime credit card, it's green. So look at it. Next time you see somebody come through a Chime, if it's a white card, it is a debit card. That means when you scan it, you're being charged a smaller rate to process that, so you get to make a little bit more money. That's if you have a merchant account. If you're using Square, then everybody's charged the same flat rate. So there are differences in how credit cards are processed. But you got to understand that. And you can't understand it when you fall for, it's free. It's not free. We're passing the fee on. Now, if you think about it, you sell burgers. Y'all know I love selling burgers. One of the upcharges that we do is, hey, would you like cheese on that? And the guest says, oh, absolutely, I want cheese on that. Now, because it's an added on charge. Does it make the cheese free to me? No, I still had to pay for it. Still an expense. Does it make it free to the guest? No, because they added on. Just incorporate it in your price, those credit card fees. When somebody says, hey, I don't want any pickle on that, well, you've already included the pickle in the price. You don't reduce the price. Still going to be the same price it always was. So the moral of this story, understand what you're getting yourself into. Free does not mean free, especially when it comes to credit card processing. Someone is paying for that. It's either going to be you or it's going to be the consumer. Now, a smart business person is going to assume everybody's using a credit card. It's not that hard to make that assumption. 90% of all payroll is direct deposited, which means a prevalent use of debit cards. But there's no distinction between debit and credit unless you have a merchant account. And then debit cards don't cost you as much money to process, which means you get to make more. But you don't have that dubious nonsense of, we have a cash price, we have a credit price because we're like a gasoline station. Just charge everybody the same rate. Don't worry about it. I can promise you, if your business is failing, it is not because of the credit card processing fees. You have a whole world of other expenses that are way, way more than the credit card processing fee. If this one hasn't convinced you, I've got a bunch more why you don't need to fall for the cash discount schemes, because the cash discount percentage ends up being your processing fee. That one I still don't get why people even fall for that. And if a credit card user comes up and says, yeah, I want this, this, and this, and you say, cash or credit, and they say it's credit, and you say, okay, $35, and they're willing to pay it, guess what? The cash paying customer will be too. They're not going to say $35, oh my God. So let's think about that. $35 total. If you have that effective rate of 3.5%, that will be the high end on Square. You know what that works out to? That works out to $1.22. So do you think that credit card bearing guest, the one that's gladly going to pay $35 for it, has no problem? And then you compare that to the guest that's stepping up with $35 in cash and go, well, I'm not paying that. They'll pay $35. So you got to make $1.22 extra. See, that's how business works. But when you fall for the free credit card processing, you think, oh, I'll get to save that money now. I'm going to be rich. No, you're not going to be rich. You're going to chase away more people than you keep. One of the surveys indicates that the savings is far negated by the loss in revenue. So the repeat guests, the ones that keep you in business, don't come back as frequently because you are petty and charge a fee. You see, it's you charging the fee. They know that. It is not the processor. It's you charging the fee. Even though you don't get it, it goes all to the processor. You're still the one charging it. Just include it in your menu price. Make your life easy. You get the deduction for it anyway. Make your life easy. Make the guest life easy. Don't fall for the nonsense of free credit card processing. I just talked about this like 3 weeks ago. But there's new credit card processors popping up every single day because the government's made it easy for any nut with an internet connection to be able to say, hey, I'm a credit card processor. This is what I can do for you. So they just added on one more layer of a middleman. Don't fall for that. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding everything helpful, please consider subscribing. If you love what we do, there's a link in the description so you can show some support. Every little bit does help keep us going. Until next time, you guys have a profitable day.